Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Toxic TD here. I know it's been a long time since I recorded one of these, but I think it's about time that I come back and release one or two here and there, because I'll be try to be posting once a week. And see these cats right here, I had no control over it, but I will have control over the teams and how the season plays out. Just the cast will be completely random. Sometimes I may have my friends pick it. Sometimes I may, just maybe, just use a random wheel. But here's who we have today. So today we're doing this Adventure Camp versus Total Drama. This Adventure Camp characters were picked by TD Owen, who I will be tagging in this video. The Total Drama characters were picked by a random wheel. Also, let's go ahead and recap our characters. From this Adventure Camp, we have Dan, Lake, Tom, Jake, Ashley, Aiden, Rosa Maria, Lightning, and for Total Drama, we have Lightning, Topher, Chef, Caleb, Dawn, Jen, and Kitty. And as you guys can clearly see, give me a second. Let me turn on presentation mode. That's better. We will be doing I'll be randomizing challenges. And basically how the first challenge is going to work, the person who wins this challenge will be the people that win this challenge. They're going to be the ones basically pick the teams. So, the first challenge that has been randomized. Dial M for merger. That is Total Drama action. So, I'll be splitting this into a two-part challenge. The first part, they have to get into a room and escape a diamond. The second one will have to defuse a bomb. So, let me just go ahead. Bomb. And diamond. So basically, the person who wins each one will be the team captains of the season. So let's just go over first. Let's recap what character is going to be doing what challenge. So Dan's going to be doing the bomb. Lake's going to try and do the diamond. Tom's going to do the bomb. Jake will try to do the diamond as well, along with Ashley. Lightning joined them. Topher would just pick the bomb just because he wouldn't really care. Rosa would do the diamond to make sure no one really gets hurt. Chef is doing the bomb. Same with Caleb and Dawn. Jen's going to do the diamond. Aiden's going to be doing the diamond as well. Katie's going to be trying to do the bomb. So, the person who is going to be winning the bomb, doing the bomb, basically what will happen is they are going to have to get one. First person to disarm their bomb wins. And here I think there's one person that just made for this challenge. First team captain is Tom. Chef does give him a run from his money. Chef gives Tom a run for his money, but it just is not enough. Alright. Then with the diamond, it actually comes down to a few people. Let's just get out the first few people. Aiden, Rosa, Jake, and Lightning. So, yeah. But I think the person, all in all, who actually wins this challenge, looking at the final three, because all three are very agile and whatnot, is Ashley, surprisingly. So now we have our team captains. So now they have to pick in a boy-girl order. Tom gets first pick just because he was able to complete his task faster than Ashley. And Tom has to pick a girl first. So Tom will pick Lake. Out of all the girls here, Lake's one of the few people that he actually was able to bond with for a good bit. So next, Ashley is going to choose Jake. Just because I actually think that it would be good to have Jake in her pocket for the long term. Next, Tom is actually going to be picking Chef. Just because I think since Chef gave Tom a run for his money in the bomb challenge, because Chef makes these challenges, of course, they would bond a little during the challenge. Then actually it has to pick a girl. And here, I think she actually goes for Dawn. That's because they're both very outdoorsy types. Then Tom has now pick a girl. And I believe this is where Kitty is picked up. No, not Kitty, Jen is actually picked for Tom's team. Because Lake tried to get Tom to pick a Rosa, but Tom would like a little bit more diversity on the team. Next up, at Ashley's turn, they simply just pick Aiden. That is just very, very simple. Aiden gets along real well with would get along pretty well with Dawn, Jake, and Ashley. Because Jake and Aiden have actually gotten along for extended periods of time, barring the whole James, Jake, Aiden plotline All-Stars. Next up is Tom's pick, and he chooses Dan. Surprisingly. And next is Ashley, who has to pick a girl. And she chooses Rosa Maria. Just because they seem to get along pretty well when they're just getting to know each other. And now Tom has to pick a girl, and that is Kitty. It actually just wings it and just picks Caleb. And now it's not no time for Ashley For Tom to pick the final one, Lightning or Topher, and he just picks Lightning. Because Topher really didn't even try in the first challenge, so these are our teams. Oh, brother, this is going to be great. Check and make sure it's still recording. But now, let's get to our first actual challenge. Is no one expects the Spanish opposition. There are fake eggs scattered all throughout the island. No actual eggs scattered all throughout the island. You have to get as many into your basket as possible. Team with the most amount of eggs at the end will actually win this challenge. So, first off, let's note some of the key players. Caleb, Chef Hatchet, Ashley, Dawn, and of course Tom would be very good at their in this challenge. Just because they're all very tedious people and have shown that have good athletic ability. The people who wouldn't do so good in the challenge is Aiden, Topher, Dan, and Lightning. Also Jen. Jen wouldn't do good because she didn't want egg to get all over her clothes. Whereas Dan, Lightning, Aiden, and Topher are just simply clumsy at times. But in everything, I think that Team 1 does take the win here. I mean, Team 2 takes the win just by having more people with careful hands. Despite some people not being the absolute fastest. Because this challenge is one that requires a more tedious approach than a straight out bronze. So, let's get into the round 1 alliances. So, first off, I think Dan would try his best to approach Lightning for an alliance. Just because Dan's not so good with the physical side of the challenges. And Lightning, being a former finalist, actually knows how to play the game. And Dan really didn't get to play much because he was on a good team. But a line that I really do see happening. Like in Chef decided to form an alliance due to all three getting along pretty well. And Lake actually formed a strong friendship with Jen and Kitty. So that's basically that. And also on Team 2, Ashley, Jake, Aiden, and Rosa just decide to go ahead and just group up for the meantime, just to make it to merge. While Dawn rounds up Caleb and Topher, trying to get them to be in a temporary alliance. So here are the people with no votes for Team 1. Tom, Lake, Chef, Kitty, Dan, And finally, in a 5-2 vote, Lightning, unfortunately, is one of the first people to be eliminated in this season. Because they had tried to convince Tom, Blake, and Chef to go for Jen, but unfortunately, it was not in the cards for them. Now let's get on to the second challenge. And the wheel I got right here is if you can't take the heat. This is a cooking challenge. And here's some of the better players. Jake, Aiden. Because I think Aiden just be good at cooking. Kitty, Lake, and Chef. And thing is, with Chef being on Team 1, I think that just gives them an edge. Because we have seen Chef be able to bring out some good, actual edible food to near perfection in Total Drama action. So, unfortunately for Team 2, they automatically lose. And here, Dawn decides to go to Rosa to try and talk about her flipping. And Rosa and Ashley, Jake, and Aiden I basically decided that they want to vote Topher. But Topher's actually been trying to help a little bit in these challenges. In the past challenge, so Rosa's on the fence about it. Whereas Dawn and Caleb are also both very good competitors in their own right. So Rosa's just stuck in the middle. But with no votes in their names, Ashley, Jake, Dawn, Rosa, Caleb, and finally, in a 4-3 vote, second person eliminated from Total Drama crossover. Total Drama versus Adventure Camp. It's unfortunately Aiden. Rosa decided to switch so she could play a more middle game, if anything. But now, let's get our next challenge up and running. And it is Grand Chef Auto. Basically, they have to build a car and then get it over a finish line no matter what. They can drag it, they can do whatever. So Team 2 has a very direct approach to it. They decide to get a car and basically something resembling a car, have everyone but Caleb and Ashley get into it and just run it over the line, which takes them about 10 minutes to do so, due to Topher accidentally falling out of the car. It would cost them about a minute or two. Then Team 1 actually has Chef. Because here's the thing. Team 1 we have seen Chef and Tom both be able to work on vehicles very well. So I think they would be, along with everybody else, being able to help out mainly. And unfortunately, I think they would not be able to do it in time, just because Caleb and Ashley's speed at which they are able to run. So unfortunately, Team 1 is back to elimination. And here, Dan is actually panicking a little bit. That's because his only alliance was to Lightning, and he's very much on the outs after the last vote. So he goes to Kitty and Jen, trying to persuade them to vote off one of the other three. With a little progress. And whereas Tom, Jake, and Chef decide they want to try and vote out a potentially big threat. So, people with 0 votes. Tom, Lake, Dan, and Jen. It is a 3-on-3 tie between Chef and Kitty. And that means there's a revote. Chef and Kitty cannot vote again. So, first off, the first vote goes to Chef. Second vote goes to Kitty. Third vote goes to Chef. And the last vote goes to Kitty. Because Dan and Lake decided to both flip on each other, on their alliance. And now I'm going to a number generator. Tom is 1, Lake is 2, Dan is 3, Jen is 4. This will be Chef and Kitty are now immune. So, let's go. Unfortunately, the person who got randomly picked to eliminate is Tom. I'm sorry, but it was his time to go. Unfortunately, because Tom had a very good game going for him. But unfortunately, he got out due to just random luck. So, let's go back to the challenge wheel. Boys are not doing too good in this. So, the pink painter strikes again. Give me a second, guys. I need to do something. Give me a second. No, I see. It was the Generation 2 challenge where oh, I get it. With Axe Hatchet. So unfortunately, Team 1 absolutely steamrolls this, with Lake, Kitty, and Chef all being able to basically stop on a dime. But Team 2 is able to get them run for their money. But for this challenge, its majority got over the line because Dawn, Ashley, and Caleb were able to get over it too. Unfortunately, Team 1 only has 2 people that didn't make it. Team 2 had 3. So that means this team is going to elimination. And here, Jake would be absolutely pissed that Tom was voted out. And he would also be pissed at Rosa, so he would be going off of practically everyone. Which unfortunately does make this an easy vote out. Of Jake being the fourth one eliminated from the game. Damn, the boys are not doing well. Alright. Let's go to the next challenge, and it is Runway Model. I'm sorry, Team 1 absolutely demolished it. This again. But yeah, Topher does try to make up Caleb. Tries to do Caleb the best he can, but unfortunately, he just isn't able to come to Jen and Lake combo. And yes, this will only be the fashion part of it. So unfortunately, Topher and Caleb would actually be pretty tight-knit duo by now, and Dawn just seems to be drifting apart from them a good bit. And Ashley would actually start getting closer to Caleb, to be honest with you. And now, well, Ashley and Rosa would also be friends with Dawn. So that just leaves Ashley and Dawn in the middle. But with 0 votes, Caleb, Ashley, and Dawn. And finally, in a unfortunately 4-1 vote, Rosa Maria, I am sorry. You have been eliminated. This venture camp has had 4 eliminations in a row. Unfortunate. Alright. Let's go ahead and get back to the challenge wheel. And here we have Finders Creepers. Oh, the cave. So, I think with having less people and them being more willing to stick together, also with Dawn having experience in this challenge, Team 2 would actually demolish, to be honest with you. Because Team 1, after the Tom elimination, has just fallen apart completely. And now, Dan actually starts getting along very well with Chef. Chef brings along Lake, and the two actually hit it off very well, to be honest with you. Due to both being bookworms by nature. And Jen and Kitty also try flipping Lake to their side to try and eliminate some other to eliminate Dan. But so with 0 votes, Kitty, Lake, and Chef Hatchet. And unfortunately, in a 5-4, nope. In a 3-2 vote, Jen is eliminated, leaving us with our final 8. And this is the last merge challenge. And it is Beach Blanket Bogus. So here they just have to build the best sandcastle out there. And here I think that unfortunately Team 1 would just have the better sandcastle in general. And also thanks to Kitty's enthusiasm and Chef's height will be able to make theirs a little taller. And now here, actually Dawn, Caleb, and Topher all decide just to go head to head. I just have everybody vote each other. So there's one person with 0 votes. That is Caleb. With 1 vote, Dawn. And in a vote of 2 to 1, Topher, you're safe. Ashley is eliminated right before the merge. Yep, and it's kind of weird because now there's not a single. There's one person basically from each Total Drama generation, even Gen 1, since Chef's from that gen. Ain't that crazy? But now things will just now only start to heat the hell up. It's an all-out dodge brawl. So here they're gonna have to play an all-out sport of dodgeball. So some of the early hits are easily Dan, Topher, Dawn, and probably Caleb, just because Chef caught his ball. And now between these 3, I think the girls will just team up on Chef to take him down, because he was a very big role in there. And Team 1 actually winning a lot of the challenges. And then finally, Kitty and Lake, I think Lake would just have the better hand-eye coordination to win this challenge. So Lake wins immunity. And now Caleb and Topher celebrate making the merge, and that their little plan worked to boot Ashley off, just getting rid of a very big threat. Dawn actually hits it off with Lake, whereas Dan and Chef go off on their own, and Lake and Kitty and Dawn and Kitty actually start hitting it off also. But with 0 votes coming down here is, of course, Lake, Kitty, Caleb, and Dan. Next, with 3 votes. It was 1 vote. It's Topher. That was by Dawn. That was for Dawn. And finally, in a 2 to 4 vote, Dawn, you are safe. Chef is the first boot of merge. And now we have our alumni. This is Kitty, Lake, and Caleb's second time. Next is Haunt Capture. Ooh, that is unfortunately a hard one to do because that was a non-elimination. Rock and roll. It's basically person who could jam out the best wins. And I think, call me biased, but I think the person who most likely wins here is Topher. Next, Topher and Caleb try to rap in Dan, just because Kitty and Dawn have been getting very, very close. And now, Lake actually tries to try to get Dan to flip on one of them, but now it is time to vote. With 0 votes, Lake, Dawn, Dan, and Topher. And finally, in a 4-2 vote, Kitty, you are safe. Caleb, you are eliminated. Just because Dan was not at all pleased, just valued his connection to the girls a lot more than his connection to Topher and Caleb. Off the hook. Alright. So basically, everybody's on even footing here. Basically, they have to hook each other. And once they get out, they have to, get through, face their biggest fears. And here, I'm sorry, I think Lake wins this again, just straight up. Yeah, Topher is a bit mad at Dan, but he decides to take Lake and Dan to the side and explain, look, I think it's probably best if y'all vote off one of the other girls. Y'all vote off me, and what if the vote's jury? A jury. Y'all both basically play backseat games and try time to actually make a point. So, elimination time comes around. With 0 votes against them, Dawn, Lake, and Dan. Finally, 3-2 vote. Topher is safe. Kitty is eliminated. 5th place. Same as her Dawnkless race elimination. So, got Venom. Oh, they have to eat disgusting food. And here, I think if anyone can stomach it, it would be Dan. Dan here. And finally, the person who's more likely or not to be able to stomach this entire thing. Yeah, but everybody is given the day off, and the next day they have to vote. So, and then Topher does go over to Dan and Dawn, saying, hey, look, Lake's a big challenge threat. Why don't we try and boot her? But unfortunately, 3-1 vote. Topher, unfortunately, gets 4th after being a floater to being the season's main villain. So, the final challenge before it's up the creek. So basically they have to paddle from one side of the river to another, start a fire, and then get back. And here, I think the person who does best on the canoeing thing would be Lake. But I think Dan would team up with Dawn to try and take Lake down. And with Dan actually being able to secure immunity once again. Now, it's one vote each. So who does Dan choose to take to the finale? Dan chooses Dawn. Just because Lake is a very big challenge beast to take into the finale. And the finale challenge is Mo Monkey, Mo Problems. They have to catch a monkey, which is right up Dawn's alley. Dan really can't do anything. Stop Dawn from winning, except intentionally breaking her, which I cannot see Dan doing. But that means Dawn will win this season. If y'all guys like this season, please put a comment down below on whatever themes y'all want me to do next. Later, people.